by around 25-30, seeing how far it took the OS guy to run from there. That's a very important part that a lot of teams don't understand or are not very good at guessing, is when OS is going to come up. If you don't get an OS, you just need to base it off good guesstimate. You can see the OS guy. If the first time you see the OS guy is, let's say, over on your side runway, you can just at least guess, like, all right, it had to take him, what, about 10 seconds to get there? So if you didn't get the previous OS, you can at least guess, all right, I see this OS guy at 23.50. They must have got it around 24 flat. And even if you're off by 10, 15 seconds, at least you have a better chance of knowing when it's up. You can see when the other team is setting up for it and fight for that OS. You never want to continually lose track of the power-ups. If you have no idea when it's up, you never see this OS guy until very late, you gotta at least know within like 20 seconds, because if you don't have it, especially on a 30-minute hit game like this, you could potentially lose the OS for the entire game. Some of the questions online are wondering about OS. By that, I mean the active power-up that they get under the bridge. It gives you increased damage resistance. It'll end up taking, I believe, 8 shots compared to 4 shots in order to kill you. And I'm reading a couple other questions on chat. People asking about Bloom. Bloom, previously, early on in Reach, they had basically recoil, or where you actually, your cursor, it would bloom out and your shots would go inaccurate. So similar to like recoil and like a Counter-Strike, or even an extreme example of Call of Duty. So with the recent patch that 343 put out, they gave the option where you can toggle bloom on and off, and for the MLG Pro Circuit settings, we play with no bloom and no armor abilities to start off.
Flag taken. Flag dropped.
You'll notice now that they're spawning over the snipe side, they always will push the bridge. Instinct does a great job of this at just staying at bridge or banana and just holding them off at courtyard/sword. They don't force the kills over on snipe side. They realize that the other team has to run to them, and that was a little blunder on their part, not getting that touch there. That could have been a cap had one of them gotten an extra touch, or Lunchbox got there fast enough. But right there, yeah, it's a potential cap lost right there. A little miscommunication, I'm assuming, on Instinct, but in their defense, they're going to play it safe. They don't want to desperate a touch and just die if they're not going to get that cap. Kills are obviously most important. You are able to win games, by going even slays or slightly negative if you're absolutely efficient with the flag or hill. But overall, you want to be outslaying the other team in objective games. You want to be going at least even with them. And nothing wrong with playing it very safe and sorry. That was one of my biggest flaws when I played. I was always very selfless in a lot of different ways, but in many situations, I didn't make the right play. I would always try to force too many objective plays. I would always try to touch the objective way too much, or try to scrap up too much time. And you can't really go wrong being safe and getting some of those extra slays. And so that's something I wish I would worked on more when I was competing myself. For those asking when Halo 4 comes out, will I compete in that? It's hard for me to say, but I'm leaning towards no at this moment. I feel like I'm ready to move on in my life. I've enjoyed competing, and at this point in time, I'd like to just sort of get a job at hopefully 343 Studios. So that's my dream job, and if it takes me going back to school, getting some programming experience, getting some more formal education, I might do that. But ideally, like I said, that's kind of my job, and that's my ideal job, and hopefully I can get that job without that experience. So even if Halo 4 turns out great, it pains me to say that I will not be competing in it.
Flag captured. Flag taken. Flag dropped.
And during those question answering, while I was answering those questions, I did not get to catch that last cap by Dynasty and what's going on currently right now. So we are tied 2-2 at the 20-minute mark in the game. I have no track of the OS at the moment, and it looks like Dynasty is going to go for a counter cap. Earlier this LAN, I saw Dursky do the most amazing counter cap against SQ. SQ was running flag under bridge. They had rockets over there, they had power upside, and Dursky just went, you know what? Instead of going for that stop, we're in the lead right now, I'm going to go for that counter cap. And I'm not sure if Dursky's the one that ran that counter cap, but that was a perfect play.
Lost the lead.
And the one that ran that counter cap right there was Tizoxid. It goes to show how versatile this team is. Dynasty's coming to play today. They're struggling to earn this LAN. They've had a lot of close games, and they're in the lead right now. I'd love to see them pull this game out and bring it to a Game 7 where they're only down 2-4. But just shows that each and every member on the squad can play well. They can, they can snipe. They can run the OBJ. They all trust each other. They're working on things. In the short period of time that they've been together, that's the most impressive part to me, is that this team has only had a few practices. Now, one of the keys to Dynasty win this next game here is going to be them getting this next rocket, the 18-10 mark. With those rockets, they can almost ensure that the next minute or so that they're not going to get capped on it, as long as they do not mess up and give up the rockets. Right now, time is on their side. I keep bringing this up, but you always have to play to what's your advantage. You never have to force getting that second cap. Right now, if Dynasty was to get a second cap and increase the lead 4-2, great. But if they force that and they do not get the cap, they're going to bring the game to a tie into overtime. So right now they have to play what's the safest. They can get kills, they can just spawn kill instinct and not force anything. 2 minutes and 10 seconds is all they have to do to hold them off. And I believe we just saw in the death screen, we saw Lethal, I want to say, grab the sniper for his team. If I was him, I would be pushing to Mauler or to your snipe turret. No need to push over to instinct side, like I said. You just got to stay alive, hold them off, and just take the win. Take it 3-2. That's all that matters, is just the win. Doesn't matter by how much you win by. And they're doing a perfect job right now. They're using rockets, using snipe, and just staying alive on their side. To counter what I just said, though, you can also do something what's called being too passive, by just being like, all right, well, we don't need to push on their side. We don't need to, be careful. Like right here, TJ has run the flag, which is fine, but as soon as they feel threatened, they need to stop this run and just get kills. If they get this cap, I will call it game over unless Instinct's able to pull amazing double cap off with these power weapons from share down and green. See? I think they kind of tried to force that cap. This could work against them so bad. Trying to get that lead, which is unnecessary. They already had the 1 cap lead.
Flag stolen. Flag dropped. Flag stolen. Flag dropped.
If Instinct caps this flag and ties it up, I blame it on them forcing that second cap. I said you did not need to get that cap and go up 4-2. It did not matter one bit.
Flag captured.
We will very possibly be going into overtime here if no one caps the next minute and a half, and that is due to them forcing a cap that was unnecessary.
Double kill. Flag taken.
Very great play out of Destin here, though.
Flag dropped.
Seems like Dynasty has come to play during this pressure moment on Tournament Sunday. Stumbling on my words a bit, but when money's on the line, you kind of see these two players shine, see who plays well under pressure, who comes to play. It's hard to always be 100% serious during every game. Obviously, people take advantage of LAN when you can get LAN, because only time you get to get the best practice in Halo. But when money's on the line, it's totally different. You hear in the tone of these guys' voice when I was in the in-game chat that they are calling out as hard as they can. And Instinct, on the other hand, also having a lot of fun. That seems to be their strategy. They seem to, like, when they have fun, when they're relaxed, calm, and obviously calling out intense during certain parts of the game, that's when they play their best. So if no one caps here in the next 30 seconds, we'll be going to overtime, and next cap wins regardless. Pit flag is not flag at home. So if you get in a situation where they have the possibility of capping their flag before you do, you have to get the stop. It's not, you know, cap and you get to cap yours and go into more overtimes. First cap and flag does not have to be at home for pit. So you could possibly see a race in some rare situations of which team trying to put in first. But for the most part, you see teams notice who's closer or who's winning the race and then try to get that stop. So if Instinct puts his flag in, Dynasty has OS, but if Instinct puts his flag in, which I am not sure how they will stop since Instinct has rockets and the flag far in their base, they will win this game. This is a huge play right here. And rockets down. Durski's going to pick these up. This should be a flag stop. Very well played by Dynasty. Playing it safe, playing it slow, gain that OS. And as much as I have to give Dynasty, Instinct did mess up there. They lost those rockets when they shouldn't have. Wasn't in good position. I mean, he dropped from their green down to, you know, training pit where he couldn't get a good angle on people above him. Just seemed like a little blunder with the rockets there. They were just trying to force that flag, and good plays and bad plays on both sides. Good plays on the Dynasty side is what I really want to give credit to. Now, one of the times that a coach truly shines in late games like this is when they're actually still keeping track of all the weapons, all the power-ups. Taui has a huge advantage for the team Instinct right here because Dynasty actually does not have a coach here at this LAN. They got a couple friends out here for the day or two of it. I believe they have Deflitz, a coach, at the tournament. But, like I said, at this tournament Sunday here on the LAN at Red Bull Day 3, we have no coach for Dynasty, and they're going to be struggling with power-ups at the end. A lot of players do not memorize as well the sniper, the rocket times when you get past these 15-minute games because, to be frank, it rarely happens. You don't have as many ties that go into overtime. But I'm sure Taui is reminding them right now in 50 seconds that rockets will be coming up. I want to see if Dynasty contests these rockets or if Instinct sets their capture up around these rockets. Now the most important part for Dynasty right here is they have to get these rockets. Use these kills on the side of the base, use Durski who's at their base to distract, but get these rockets.
Flag taken. Flag dropped.
And it looks like one of the Dynasty members is grabbing the rockets on the screen that you cannot see. Durski's running the flag. This has got to go towards Dynasty, and if they pull this game off, it is a huge win for them. They need this. They pull out the win, overtime. Dynasty winning 4-3, capture the flag on pit. That brings the series to 4-2, and that is such a crucial win for them for many reasons. They do not want to go down in a 5-1 against Instinct, the best team in the world right now, and have to try to win 5 straight games to close out the series. So we're at least at 4-2. They have a little bit of breathing room, and our next game type is going to be Countdown Slayer. I hope Dynasty takes some momentum. Instinct really does not favor Countdown. It's one of their least favorite game types, least favorite maps, because they do not prefer both Countdown Flag and Countdown Slayer. So I'd love to see them take this momentum, go on the next game, and let me just check out the stats. We can pull this up real quick. I would love to see who did well that last game and who's, I guess, doing bad on the other side, because I'm assuming Instinct got outslayed that last game. Alright, so on the stat side, we had Destin going +8, Durski going -8, and on the Instinct side, Roy going +6 and Ola going -5. One thing I want to point out about Durski is he made that amazing flag run at the end, was very selfless throughout the game,